Good morning, it's Aaron, and I'm leaving my home to go to the coast because it's been too dang hot. For like 2 weeks it's been between 108 and 114. So I'm going to the ocean where it's like 73. But on the way, there's a very cool hike out here in the forest between a place called Hayfork and Blatina. And it's a natural limestone bridge that's like 150 feet long and 30 feet high, and you can go under it. It's supposed to be super, super cool. So it's like a mile hike. First you gotta go, well, I'll show you how we got here. So as many of you may know, in California, you can legally grow marijuana and you can grow it on a commercial scale. So on the way to our hike, I just wanted to show you what a commercial marijuana grow looks like in California. And there it is. Those are called hoop houses. California's new cash crop. So getting out here to the natural bridge hike, you go down a really squirrely little rural road with hairpin turns for 5 miles, and then you go down this forest road for 1.3 miles. Definitely some steep dirt roads. Yeah, like coming out of this turn right here, this is pretty precarious. Oh, I'm peeling out, so I had it in 4-wheel drive and peeled out. This is a really beautiful forest, so this is going to be a fun morning hike. And look at all these pretty purple flowers. Good morning. So like all things in nature, there's the geological aspect of this, and it's made out of limestone, but we're in a place called Trinity County, and before the gold rush, the Wintu Indians used to inhabit this area. So the mythology behind the bridge is that one of their mystical men was coming back to camp, and he stopped and took off the bundle of hides he had on his back and threw them in the creek, or by the creek, to take a rest. And they call this bridge, or the Indians call this bridge, Kok Chi Sup Chi, which is supposed to mean bundle of hides. So I probably just butchered that. And they say that because the walls of this natural bridge are supposed to resemble what the hides look like. So we'll see when we get there. This right here is a really cool example of what a tree looks like when it burns from the inside out. And check that out, it's like a chimney. That entire tree is hollow. Let's stick the camera inside of it and see what we can see. It's like a little fireplace. Let's see. See that? Right up to the top. Woo-wee. It's humid here today, and it's not normally that humid in Northern California, so I'm sweating. That's good for you.
Aaron hiking in the morning woods, pretty flowers and lots of wood. A burned out tree for all to see. How did this bridge get to this? A story I will tell thee. Bad things happen to the Indians, as you will see. They live in a world of thieves, simply jackasses, as you will see.
All right, we have arrived at the limestone natural bridge. So here's the bridge, and you can go through it. You can see light coming through on the other side. It's huge. Those rocks, they are tall. Look at the trees growing right out of the top of the rocks. And then here's the entrance. It's definitely squirrely, steep. It looks like sometimes there's a creek running down there. Yeah, this is super cool. So I can definitely see the texture on the walls. Maybe those are what look like hides? I don't know. This was once just a solid piece of rock, and then over time the water ran through and created this opening or this cave through it. It's way cooler in here too. These giant rocks right here. And we're coming out the other side. This is just a wonderland in here. It's hard to see the scale of how big it is in here, but I'll show you. It's super hard to give you perspective on how big this place is. This should do it. Check out all the super cool designs on the rock when you come out the other side. And it just hangs right over your head. This place is definitely a natural wonder. Look how beautiful all this is. So besides the geological and the mythical aspects of this that they call Natural Bridge, it has another name. And I'm going to tell you how it got that name. Because in 1852, a lot of mosquitoes, in 1852, a cattle rancher in this area named J.R. Anderson, he was killed and his cattle were run off by a band of the Wintu Indians. So the sheriff at that time, a guy named William Dixon, and a posse of his boys, they went looking for the Indians to get retribution. So after several days of tracking the Indians, they went on top of this natural bridge and they spotted an Indian camp not too far off. They could see the people and they could see the smoke coming from their teepees. So a few days later, they set off in the cover of darkness and set up right above the camp. And there was allegedly about 150 Indians there, mostly women and children, mind you. And that morning, the sheriff and his posse, sorry, I'm going up Steep Hill, losing my breath. They opened fire on that camp and they killed everybody, allegedly, except 3 children. And that's how this got the name Massacre Bridge, from that 1852 massacre of the Wintu Indians. And what sucks is it wasn't even the same group of Indians that had run off that rancher's cattle. So they killed the wrong people. So that's how this beautiful limestone formation got 2 names. The Natural Bridge and the Massacre Bridge. And just recently, I'm going to show you, when we get off this hike, there was a bronze plaque that was placed to commemorate that killing. And somebody came down here and stole it. What kind of jackass does that? Here is where that dang plaque was stolen. It was like a $1,500 plaque that was donated to commemorate the Indians that were massacred here.